This week's topic is goal setting. Let's set some goals. First, we have to understand what is goal setting. Goal setting is identifying something that you want to achieve or accomplish, and by creating a plan and a routine to reach it. It helps us to bring direction, focus, and motivation for the things that help you identify what matters most. And there's many different ways that we can take it, but I'm going to make it simple and go with our SMART, S-M-A-R-T. The first letter in SMART is S, and that stands for specific. That means that we have to take our goal to the next step. We can't just be very vague, because sometimes that can make us feel like it's nearly impossible to reach. It also helps us to identify by making more details what it is that we want to work on as a whole. So for my goal, I want to be healthier. But rather than just saying I want to be healthier, let's get a little bit more specific. I want to go on a walk every single day for 30 minutes. By being a little bit more specific, that makes our goals a little bit more reachable. And the next letter in SMART is M. That stands for measurable. By adding specific numbers and times, it helps you to accomplish your goal better. For example, I could go on a walk that feels like it's endless. But by setting 30 minutes, that lets me reach my goal faster, and I feel accomplished when I see the timer get to 30 minutes. And I can also track my progress by keeping track of these times. It's really important because it helps us reach our goal, especially if I choose a topic such as I want to be healthier. By keeping track of my weight loss, this makes me feel even more accomplished and more motivated by seeing these results, which help me to get to the next step. The next letter in SMART is A, and that stands for achievable. When we're setting a goal, we have to be realistic with ourselves. We shouldn't set goals that are near impossible or something that make us feel like we can't do it. When I say I want to be healthier, one thing that I want to work on is not drinking as much soda. So rather than me saying I'm going to cut out soda completely, which sometimes can feel like, what? I can't do that. We have to choose something that is realistic. And that could be, say, I'm only going to drink this many sodas in a week. Be specific with the number, just like we mentioned for our time. We have to be measurable and make sure that we're setting something, again, that is realistic. And speaking of realistic, the next letter in SMART is R, and that stands for relevance. We have to make sure, as long as we're staying on task with our goal, that it's really relevant to what it is that we're working on as a whole. By me saying I want to be healthy, we have to make sure that it's going alongside with what my philosophy is and what my true desires are. If I'm setting something that doesn't have any relevance to what it is that I do in my everyday life, it's really easy to lose your goals. It's really easy to stop doing it and just give up. But we have to make sure it's relevant to what it is that you want to do in your own life and your daily values. So let's get into the last letter. The last letter in SMART is T, and that stands for time bound. That means that when we set a specific time frame, it helps to create urgency and a specific deadline of what it is that you want to accomplish. It's saying, I'm going to start here and make it all the way to here by this time. Again, we got to be specific, especially with our time frames and making sure it's relevant to what we're doing. So while we're on our task, we have to make sure that we are staying relevant in our time frame and making sure we're getting what we need to do done by this time frame, so when we go to the next step, it makes it that much easier. And especially goal setting can be overwhelming. Sometimes we feel like we want to give up, which is why we have to break it into smaller increments. For example, I could say, I want to run a 5K, but maybe that seems far out of reach. So I'll start walking 10 minutes a day and turning those walking 10 minutes into running 10 minutes. Soon enough, by breaking it into smaller steps, I can therefore then accomplish my 5K goal if I really push myself and persevere. So sometimes we feel like, how can we do this? But it's not only just alone. We can also incorporate other people into our goals, especially when it comes to being healthier. Sometimes people, they bring it into work. Let's do a walking challenge. My department is going to walk this many steps by this deadline. But that department over there wants to also set the same goal. Maybe we can make it a fun competition between everybody. And by doing this, it makes it fun. And there's always room for us to be able to adjust and review our goals too. Sometimes we might not make it, but as long as we again persevere, we can accomplish this no matter what. And it's really important to make sure we are staying on top of our SMART tasks to accomplish our goals. So it's always good to reflect and it's always good to persevere. So let's keep working hard.